And in the next 30 minutes, Speaker of Parliament on a collision course with the NDC Minority as it gives Trade Minister the all clear to lay the controversial import restriction legislation.
He should make available copies of the instrument to the Subsidiary Legislation Committee for them to ensure, as the majority leader also stated, some of those amendments that were agreed upon have been taken on board. Then we can lay the instrument.
And in fact, there's more unfolding tonight as we hear from the NDC Minority as they vow to continue the resistance. We'll also tell you why the Trade Minister is accusing the NDC Minority of stabbing him in the back.
You mean Dominic Ayine?
Yes.
Hasn't reported?
Well, that was the allegation, that he hadn't reported to the leadership.
The outcome of the meeting which you just talked about.
Yeah, that's right. It turned out not to be true. He had reported to them. Then what do we do? Okay, let's...
But was that outcome a consensus position that was going to be communicated?
As far as I'm concerned, within the committee was absolutely a consensus.
So you're saying that the NDC...
Yeah.
And top story, as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. I'm Blessed Toga, and tonight, after 3 failed attempts to lay his controversial legislative instrument, which is seeking to restrict the importation of rice, sugar, fruit juices, mineral water, and more than a dozen other products, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Bagman, is tonight indicating that the instrument can now be laid on Thursday after a final meeting between the Minister and the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. The Minister says the law will help boost local industries and also address the poor performance of the Ghana cedi. However, the minority and other stakeholders are opposed to the proposed law, indicating that it gives the Minister too much powers and will lead to high incidence of corruption. Well, I want you to listen to the Deputy Majority Leader, Emmanuel Amakufibua, reacting to his position to this whole instrument on the floor of the House when a new attempt was made to lay this instrument.
We left with the understanding that there will be changes done, and then after that, the Minister will come with a report, and the leadership will meet to review that report. As far as I am concerned, that engagement has not taken place. I've not seen the copy of that changes that has been done. So I don't know what we are laying. We are laying the old document. That is the document that we had issues with. I have not seen the amended documents. And so that is a problem. And since then, Honourable Speaker, I'm also very much aware that you have been petitioned by stakeholders in the industry who have serious concerns. And so, Honourable Speaker, I think that I raise these matters because we have very strong views on this LI, and ordinarily we didn't oppose it. But as you yourself have stated, we are here because of the people of Ghana. We just met this morning, and your profound statement that you made, and I took that with me, was that everything that we do must resonate with the needs and aspirations of the people of Ghana. We have to listen to the people of Ghana on this very LI that is being laid.
And in fact, it's a good time to cross over to Parliament. Hear from Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwe Asante, who's been following through the negotiations surrounding this ally. And Kwekwe, I'm just wondering, also we know that the minority is now warning that this fight is not over. This ally could also possibly poison unity in the House as well and spell some doom for the approval of the entire 2024 budget. What more are we learning about, the mixed reactions now greeting this?
Yes, Blessed, according to Ahmed Ibrahim, who is the Deputy Minority Whip, this is an ally that the minority have significant concerns about. They think that this is a budget meeting. They should rather be focused on passing the budget and not bringing in such instruments that have the potential of poisoning the atmosphere in the House. And he's sensing the mood of the MPs on the minority side to mean that if you try to push your way through on this ally, it will give you a difficult time on the 2024 budget approval, which is a simple majority, by the way, whilst the approval of the ally or rejection of same is 2/3 majority. Listen to Ahmed Ibrahim.
The matter at hand is a very serious and dangerous matter, which hinges on the survival of businesses in this country. Mr. Speaker, we are not just objecting, and care should be taken, and let's take reflection back to serious issues that have been raised on this floor, and minority have raised objection. Which of them didn't go back to come and bite this country? And this is one of them. Mr. Speaker, just as yesterday, 6 associations, Ghana Union of Traders Association, Ghana Freight Forwarders Association, Ghana Automobile Dealers Association, and a host of them wrote a petition having confidence in members of this House and this House that we should take that petition into consideration. So, Speaker, that petition must be presented to this House. We know when they did a press conference, they said they presented a petition to Parliament. What is in the content of that petition? So, Speaker, by Article 11.7, once a regulation of that nature is laid on this floor, you need 2/3 majority of this House to annul it. So, Speaker, we know. So what would be the essence of laying the regulation and going to consider it when you yourself, that the concerns of GUTA, the concerns of automobile car dealers, the concerns of traders association, the concerns of freight forwarders cannot be considered. Mr. Speaker, it is on that note that we are saying, let's engage them. This is the time that we need consensus building in this House. Let not the Minister for Trade and Industry with this resolution come and divide the House.
And such a heated debate as has been. In fact, many are expecting that this would even go out of the chambers, knowing that the MPs will indeed continue engagements on what the way forward would be. The back and forth continues. This led to a clash, as we understand, even between the Minister of Communications in Parliament and also the Speaker of Parliament. Could just bring us up to speed on that one. What did we miss on that?
There was a big spat between the Minister for Communication and the Finance and the Speaker of Parliament. I beg your pardon. The Minister was on her feet to say that she did not understand why MPs were going back and forth on this. The Constitution was clear and no regulation had been laid. But the Speaker of Parliament said the Minister was simply not paying attention and she was behaving as though this was her communication ministry. She ordered her to take her seat and stop her argument. Listen.
The LI has not been laid. So I have no idea what we're debating in this House today. There is nothing before the House. So as you indicated to the Minister that we are not yet there, I was of the opinion that you would tell the colleagues on the other side that there's nothing before us. I have no idea what the references are being made.
Were you here from the very beginning?
My understanding is that...
Were you here from the very beginning?
No, I've been here since morning.
Please, can you've been here since morning?
I've been here since morning. I've been here from the very beginning. Today, I was
so
here
why did you say
when
no?
the prayers were being
If you were
said.
here, why did you say no?
I have been here all morning. I had no idea what you meant by the very beginning. But I have been here, I was here before you entered the chamber. I was here for prayers. I have been here throughout.
Minister, do you really listen to yourself when you are talking?
What's it? Yes, I do. I weigh my words very carefully before I speak.
If you were here from the very beginning before we started, and I asked you, were you here from the very beginning? You said no. Then you continue. And now you are telling me you were here even before I entered.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, yes, I've been
so
here
it meant that
before you
are not listening to yourself.
I had no idea what you meant by very beginning. I haven't been here this week. This is my first time I'm appearing in the House this week. I've been here since the beginning of proceedings today. And I do listen to myself very carefully and weigh my words carefully before I speak. You don't think so? You are entitled to your opinion. But I beg to differ.
Honorable Minister, this is not the Ministry of Communications. This is Parliament.
I'm very well aware of that, sir.
Resume your seat.
And of course, subsequently, if the directive is coming through from the Speaker, you would have to obey that. And so fast forward, Kweku, I want us now to refocus and talk about the bill or the legislative instrument as, of course, technically it will be referred to because yesterday the sector minister, Katie Hammond himself, gave us an interview. He spoke to Evan Spencer that Dr. Iyine's committee had cleared his ally for laying, but his side of the House has gone ahead to oppose the laying, an act he describes as a stab in the back. I just want us to listen to that, and then we'll see the kind of response that's been greeting that interview ever since it was granted yesterday.
You mean
yes,
hasn't reported?
That was the allegation, that he hadn't reported to the leadership.
The outcome of the meeting which you just talked about.
Yeah, that's right. It turned out not to be true. He had reported to them. Then what do we do? Okay, let's.
But was that outcome a consensus position that was going to be communicated?
As far as I'm concerned, within the committee was absolutely consensus.
So you're saying that the NDC chair side and the MPP chairs all agreed at the committee level to lay?
Yeah, sure, delay.
With the change being reviews will return to Parliament.
I can read to you.
I mean, please, I'd love to. This is a short fact, by the way, as you have seen, and I would love for you to read what the actual text is, based on the agreement that you reached.
Members of the committee made suggestions for amendments to the substantive clauses of the regulations generally. In respect of the affected products, it was decided that cement be deleted from the list of restricted imports and in its place diapers be inserted. The explanation provided was that cement industry is proposed to be comprehensively regulated under the draft cement the industry, the one that I told you about. Furthermore, the ministry proposed that frozen cuts of offals be inserted as item 23 of the on the list. Frozen cuts, frozen cuts, and then they have another one we call offals. Well, the committee, listen to this. The committee demanded that data be provided to it regarding the basis of the minister's justification for the restrictions on the basis that imports are having a negative impact on the country's balance of payments. At the end of the deliberation, the committee concluded that, subject to the proposed amendment, the minister could proceed with the laying of the instrument. Members made numerous proposals for the amendment, which were accepted by the ministry. At the end of the deliberations, the committee took the view that the draft regulations conformed to the powers granted to the minister under the Ghana Standards Authority Act and does not violate the Constitution and may be laid subject to the amendments. Conclusions generally, the committee had no reason to believe that the two draft regulations were not within the ambit of the parameters set under Article 11, Clause 7 of the Constitution and the Standard Orders of Parliament.
And your point is?
My point is this: it was on the strength of this that I proceeded to lay the document the day after.
And then he goes ahead to describe this as a stamp in the back. Kweku, let's move forward now. Look at the way forward. Thursday, there's another set of activities happening. What's the Speaker telling us now?
Well, the Speaker's decision is clear that the Constitution allows Katie Hammond to go ahead and lay this once he follows the constitutional dictates. And so on Thursday, we expect that KC Hammond will lay these instruments in the House. But the minority are vowing that they are going to fight this till the very end. They are not releasing their strategy, exactly what they are going to do to fight this, but they say Ghanaians should watch out for the resistance come Thursday.
Doesn't include cement. Cement is not there. So it meant that this instrument is not the initial one that came before the committee. I will plead with the minister that in spite of my earlier promise to him, he should make available copies of the instrument to the Subsidiary Legislation Committee for them to ensure, as the majority leader also stated, some of those amendments that were agreed upon have been taken on board. Then we can lay the instrument and move on with it.
But I'm saying that, for example, in some of the provisions there, the minister talks about committee.
And it's a good time now to speak to the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Benjamin Yeboah is Welfare Officer of GUTA, joining us on the telephone lines now. And thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Quite a heated debate in Parliament. In spite of your concerns, we know that you're one of the 6 groups joining that petition laid before Parliament. The LI, irrespective of your concerns, has now been cleared and will be laid. Have you had any response so far from Parliament on your concerns?
Well, it was not yet. We've not had, and in fact, I'm even privy to what happened, listening in now to know exactly what took place in Parliament today. So that's the feedback we are getting now from Parliament. But it's really a sad event we are witnessing. You see, what we as part of the 6th we're looking for is a win-win situation for Ghana. I mean, none of us have said that we are against any industrialization drive. Not at all. We are just saying that, look, we had a one-off time meeting with the minister when we discussed this, and even there we raised some issues. So we felt that some further, negotiations or further stakeholders meetings should continue so that we are all clear with ourselves what we are doing. We have raised legitimate issues concerning the way the whole airline, in terms of the powers to the minister and how permits can be obtained and given, and also to look at the list and see the comparative advantage that we have so that we can see what we can do and then gain the strength. There are some, like we indicated, cement. I mean, how many people are importing cement? Because there are a lot of locally produced cement here, and their quality is quite good, and we buy and use. So naturally, you'll be surprised there wouldn't even be, in the long term, the need to even put any restrictions or any of the item, because then Ghanaians will still be patronizing what is made here. And therefore, and those that we would want to put restrictions, we will just do the capacity in Ghana, so that we know that, yes, if there are any restrictions, yes, we as traders will have that quantity, that right packaging and pricing. All these things we've not had the comfort of knowing, and that makes us apprehensive that, look, if we are not careful, here we will not be having the right amount or the quantity that we want. And therefore, the need will be there to import the shortfall, and then there will be a lot of bureaucracy even obtaining these permits to import. And you see, the whole lot of problems that would come with it when we are trying to solve a problem.
And I'm just wondering, and sorry for cutting through, but I'm just wondering what the next line of action is going to be, knowing clearly that the constitutional rights has now been given to the minister responsible for trade. You haven't heard from him. The indication and the likelihood is that this ally will be laid. What will be your next line of action?
I heard the Honorable Speaker, Right Speaker, saying something about some amendments. I wish we knew those amendments that they were talking about that might find its way into the ally. So that is one thing we will be probing from tomorrow to see what it was that they are talking about. And I will see what happens. I mean, you see, the idea of coming to see Parliament working for it, and then on Thursday we are envisaging sort of, give and take that kind of, it doesn't augur well for a democracy. And I don't think the executives or the majority or government should go this way. I think they should look at the situation as it is, especially when they've realized that there are groups that are outside Parliament petitioning that we should have a look at it. I think it's a great concern because these are large groups of, let's say, associations.
Yeah.
And if we are talking about looking at it, I think the concern should be taken upon seriously.
And of course, that's what the expectation of not just your group has been, but the 6 others or 5 others also raising the concerns together with you. That's the chairperson, I beg your pardon, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Benjamin Yeboah, who's the welfare officer, sharing his thoughts with us. And it's been the concern also of the Food and Beverages Association. John Awuni is executive chairperson of that group. They are also joining us in studio. And John, is great to be talking to you here on Joy FM. We know that, we've done other engagements where you've stated your position on this matter. But now that it's been confirmed that this will be laid, Thursday, the Speaker is giving the opportunity to the Trade Minister. What are you likely to do by way of intervening before that constitutional process kickstarts?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. If you are coming out an LI like that and you have major businesses who more or less will say that your constituents, that is the Minister of Trade or the government, are opposing it, and they have formally sent out petition. We've sent a petition to the Speaker, we've sent petition to the Select Committee on Trade, we've sent petition to the Minister of Trade himself. What we're expecting is that maybe tomorrow the Minister of Trade will allow us to meet with him so that we can dialogue and see what we can do in order to boost local boost the patronage and consumption of locally produced goods.
But John Awuni, the question has always faced you, especially for those who are not able to tell the technicalities of possibly what the implication of this LI would be on businesses, practically speaking. What's your greatest fear? Do you feel that there might be a significant impact after the passage of this LI?
Number one, very great question. The number one effect is that prices of goods are going to go very high. And already as we speak now, demand for these goods are already low. Demand for chicken is low, demand for rice is low, demand for general goods are low. For instance, when you take the issue of cables, the electrical cables that are produced in this country, they are produced in Tema. And yet the price of this cable is 3 times the price of some of the cables that come from Europe or from Turkey. And so essentially, if you are now restricted and you are more or less giving monopoly to this local producer, you haven't given monopoly to the person yet, and yet the price of his price is 3 times the cost of what is brought abroad. How much more now if you give monopoly to the person? If you take chicken, and that is protein essential, local chicken, 1.2 kilos for a bird, is 130 cedis. It translates to almost about over 1,000 Ghana cedis for 10 kilos, compared to the imported one that is 360. A Ghanaian worker who earns about 3,000 cedis, and indeed many don't earn that much, how would that person survive with 1,000 cedis box of 10 kilo chicken that would not take if he and the family throughout the month? A bag of rice is 750 cedis. No monopoly yet. No price hacks yet. And You will have somebody with 300,000 cedis, 3,000 cedis, and the fellow have to buy a box of chicken 1,000, buy 750 cedis bag of rice, and then how much is left to pay rent? You haven't paid electricity, you haven't paid for water, you haven't done all that. These are our major concerns.
John Awuni, I'm just wondering if you're part of this committee that will be formed per the LI. There will be a multi-stakeholder committee that will now see to the licensing regime and all of that. Are you not part of this, and does that not present you with the opportunity at least to make an input?
This does not, not that I'm aware of. I'm not aware that we are part of it. And if you come out with this kind of LI, it is, for me professionally, it's quite disappointing, because we are going back to the 1960s. These restrictions were imposed in the Nkrumah's regime. And many ministers fell victim of corruption and rent-seeking and all that. And some ministers were even about to be locked up. And there are reports to that effect that they can read. And then fast forward, we talk about 1967, another one. There's a report to that effect. Fast forward to 2012, 2013 under the Mahaman's regime. Fast forward to 2018, 2019 under this current regime. They did restrictions on rice, let me say, but they did not succeed because things were not found, things were not laid on the ground. So this LI, for me, in this liberalized economy, that the countries are seeking to open up their economies, you don't have to come out with an LI like that, because clearly it is going to create a lot of price hikes. It will affect the consumer. The voter that you are looking for to vote for you 2024, his life is already impacted negatively, because that voter have to vomit 20 cedis each day to buy kenke. And if you are supposed to use 20 cedis for kenke every day, for 30 days you have 600 cedis. You will take or you are going to eat wachi 30 cedis. For 30 days you have 900 cedis. If you are earning 2,000 cedis, you alone have eaten 600 or 900 cedis. What is left? And that is our concern. Yeah. And we think that Parliament must, once we have sent out the petition, Parliament must invite us so that some of us can have our professional input. And then we can see together what we can do to boost local patronage of goods.
And indeed, that's the question facing Parliament now, as to whether or not they will admit the concerns and perhaps hear out John Awuni and his Food and Beverages Association members, as well as the Ghana Union of Traders. I want us to wrap up now, but joining us is a former Deputy Trade Minister, Murtala Mohammed, on the phone lines now. And Murtala Mohammed, the point about the way forward, it will be late, but how do we cushion these businesses? I want you to deal with that for me in just 1 minute.
The problem that came with even the Parliament with the LI, it was a and committee. The trade and industry and tourism was never involved. And they were done. And for us, it was a bit key. And I raised the floor that yes, it is the responsibility of the subsidiary committee to look to propose laws or amend laws. But that particular
it appears we are having some challenges with the line to Murtala Mohammed, but that's all we have for you, unfortunately, here on Top Story. The conversation continues later on Newsnight. I'm Blessed Suga. Next is Newsnight.